Everything in your life is a reflection of your inner world. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. When you assume the feeling of already having what you desire, the world bends to match your assumption. It is not a question of whether miracles exist. It is only a question of whether you are in harmony with them. You must act as though you are the magnet to miracles, for in truth you are. The moment you decide that your desires are already yours, reality has no choice but to conform. Do not wait for evidence, do not seek signs, and do not ask for proof. To do so is to place your faith in the outer world, a world that merely reflects back to you the state of your being. Instead, move through life as though the unseen is already seen, as though the promise is already fulfilled. When you wake up in the morning, feel the joy of having already received what you once longed for. Walk as one who has everything they need. Speak as one whose prayers have already been answered. Think from the end, not of it. The world will mirror your certainty, for it has no power of its own. It is but a shadow of your imagination. Doubt is the only force that keeps miracles at bay. The mind conditioned by logic, by appearances, will whisper that what you desire is impossible. But impossibility is only a concept within the limitations of the senses. The infinite knows no limits, and you are one with the infinite. When you surrender to the knowing that all things are already yours, you become the living embodiment of miracles. There is no need to chase, no need to struggle. The more you grasp, the more you affirm lack. The more you wait, the more you affirm distance. Instead, breathe deeply into the certainty that what is yours is drawn to you effortlessly. Let go of urgency, for urgency implies doubt. Rest in the feeling of already being the person who has it all, and the universe will move to confirm your assumption. The only work is within. There is no need to fight against circumstances, no need to battle the world outside. The world is already responding to you. The key is not to force, but to assume. When you assume, you are not pretending, you are aligning. You are tuning yourself like an instrument, vibrating at the frequency of your desire, and when your vibration matches your vision, the world must comply. It is law. Many believe that attraction is about longing, about sending out a request to the universe and waiting for a response. But longing itself implies separation. When you long for something, you affirm that it is not yet yours. And as long as you hold the feeling of wanting, you remain in a state of lack. The key is not to wish for something to come to you, but to embody the energy of already possessing it. You must walk, speak, and think as though it is already done, because in truth, it is. Your imagination is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Everything in this world first existed as an idea, a concept, an assumption. A great artist does not wait for a masterpiece to appear before picking up a brush. The vision is already alive in their mind before a single stroke is made. In the same way, you must see yourself as the creator of your reality, not a passive observer waiting for circumstances to shift. The world does not move first, you do. Your internal shift is the cause, and the external response is merely the effect. Think of yourself as a magnet. A magnet does not chase after metal, it naturally draws it in. It does not hope or wish, it simply is. And because it is in alignment with what it attracts, the connection is effortless. This is the way you must approach your desires. You must become the living embodiment of the energy you seek to attract. If you want love, become love. If you want success, carry yourself as though you are already successful. If you want peace, be still in your mind and heart, and peace will flow to you. The greatest illusion is the belief that the world is something outside of you, that it operates independently of your inner state. But look at your life closely. Observe the patterns, the relationships, the circumstances that repeat. If you have ever felt stuck, as though the same difficulties keep appearing no matter what you do, it is because the external is simply reflecting what you unconsciously assume to be true. Change your assumptions, and the mirror will show you a different reflection. You have already proven this principle in your own life, though you may not have recognized it. Think of a time when you felt unstoppable, when you carried yourself with absolute confidence. In that state, did you not notice how people responded to you differently? Opportunities seemed to present themselves, doors opened, conversations flowed effortlessly. It was not because the world suddenly changed, but because you had changed. The silence suddenly interrupted the change because you had changed. Your energy dictated your experience, and the world had no choice but to follow. Now think of the times when doubt crept in, when fear whispered that you were not enough. In those moments, did you not notice how everything seemed to reflect that belief? The same opportunities that once felt effortless now seemed out of reach. The same conversations that once flowed smoothly now felt strained. The world did not suddenly become unkind. It was only mirroring your inner state. This is why waiting for circumstances to change before you allow yourself to feel whole is a mistake. Many believe that once they have the job, the relationship, the money, then they will feel secure and happy. But this is backwards. The feeling must come first. You must embody the energy of having before the world delivers it to you. It is not about pretending or faking. It is about truly knowing that what you seek is already yours. There is a fundamental difference between someone who hopes and someone who knows. The one who hopes still entertains the possibility that they may not receive. They wish, they wait, they look for signs. But beneath it all, there is still uncertainty. The one who knows, however, moves with certainty. They do not wait for validation from the outside world because they already feel it within. Their confidence, their peace, their absolute conviction draws their desire toward them effortlessly. If you look at those who seem to manifest effortlessly, you will see that they carry themselves differently. They do not chase, they do not grasp, they do not beg the universe to deliver, they simply are. Their energy exudes certainty, and that certainty shapes their reality. This is why some seem to receive with ease, while others struggle endlessly. The difference is not in their luck, but in their state of being. When you realize that you attract not what you want, but what you are, everything changes. You no longer waste energy on external struggles. You no longer seek approval, no longer fight against circumstances. Instead, you shift within, knowing that the world must follow. The external has no choice. It is bound by the law of reflection. Think of the sun and the moon. The moon has no light of its own. It simply reflects the light of the sun. In the same way, the world reflects the light of your consciousness. If you see darkness, it is not because the world is dark. It is because you have not yet turned on your own light. The moment you shift your inner state, the outer world must respond. You are the cause, not the effect. The moment you truly embody this truth, you step into your power. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstances, no longer a victim of fate. You become the deliberate creator of your reality. And as you assume the feeling of already having, the world will rush to confirm your assumption. Not because you are wishing for it, not because you are forcing it, but because you are already it. To truly understand the nature of creation, you must shift your awareness from hoping for an outcome to knowing it is already done. The world around you is not separate from your mind, it is an extension of your assumptions. Every experience, every interaction, and every opportunity is a direct reflection of what you accept as true. The greatest mistake people make is thinking from the place of desire rather than from the place of fulfillment. They look at what they want as something distant, something to be achieved in the future. But in doing so, they keep it just out of reach. The key is not to think of your desire, but to think from it. To live as though it is already yours. When you think of something, you place it outside of yourself. You acknowledge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. You see yourself as separate from the thing you wish to experience. But when you think from the end, you remove the separation. You no longer wait for it to happen. You embody the feeling of it having already happened. This shift in consciousness is the key to everything you seek. Imagine you are an actor preparing for a role. You do not merely speak the lines, you become the character. You feel their emotions, think their thoughts, and move as they would move. In doing so, you transform yourself into that which you portray. This is precisely how manifestation works. You do not merely wish for something. You step into the role of the person who already has it. You think their thoughts, feel their emotions, and carry yourself as though the reality you seek is already here. Most people live in the mindset of one day. They say, one day I will have the love I desire, one day I will be successful, one day I will be happy. But one day never comes because the mind continues to place the fulfillment in the future. The key is to collapse time, to bring that future state into the present by assuming it is already yours. When you embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the world conforms to your new state of being. This is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about aligning with the truth that all possibilities exist in the present moment. Every reality, every version of you that you could ever become already exists. You are not creating something out of nothing. You are selecting a reality and tuning yourself to it. Just as a radio does not create music but merely tunes into a frequency that is already there, you must tune yourself to the frequency of your desire. Your feelings and assumptions determine the reality you experience. If you assume lack, if you feel as though your desires are far away, you will continue to experience a world that reflects that assumption. But if you assume the feeling of already having what you seek, the world will rearrange itself to match your inner state. The outer world has no power of its own. It simply mirrors what you hold within. Consider the experience of a dream. When you are dreaming, you fully accept the dream world as real. You do not question it. You do not wait for proof. And you do not ask whether it is possible. You simply experience it as if it is your reality. It is only when you wake up that you realize it was all created by your mind. But what if you never woke up? What if you continue to experience that dream as your reality? This is exactly how your waking life operates. You are always dreaming, always projecting your inner world onto the screen of reality. The difference is that in waking life, you have the power to deliberately shape the dream by choosing what you accept as true. If you wish to experience a new reality, you must first become it in consciousness. You must feel what it is like to have already achieved your desire. How does it feel to be successful? How does it feel to be deeply loved? How does it feel to be abundant, free, at peace? These feelings are the bridge between imagination and reality. When you dwell in the state of the wish fulfilled, you activate the unseen forces that bring it into physical form. Most people wait for evidence before they believe. But belief itself is the evidence. Your senses only show you what you have already accepted as true. If you want to see a new reality, you must first change what you believe to be possible. The world does not change first, you do. And when you do, the world must follow. This is why persistence is necessary. The old reality, shaped by your past assumptions, may still appear before you, but do not be deceived by appearances. The moment you shift within, reality begins to shift as well, even if you cannot see it immediately. Think of planting a seed in the ground. You do not dig it up each day to check if it is growing. You trust that beneath the surface, the process is already underway. In the same way, when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, trust that reality is already rearranging itself in your favor. You are always in a state, whether consciously or unconsciously. The question is, what state are you dwelling in? If you dwell in the state of lack, of waiting, of hoping, you will remain in that experience. But if you shift into the state of already having, the world must reflect that shift. The more you persist in this new state, the more natural it becomes. And when it becomes natural, it becomes real. This is why faith is so powerful. Faith is not blind belief. It is certainty in the unseen. It is the deep knowing that what you desire is already yours, even before it appears in the physical world. When you walk in faith, you do not question, you do not doubt, and you do not wait for proof. You move as though it is already done, and in doing so you call it forth into being. If you were told right now that everything you desire is guaranteed to happen, how would you feel? How would you move through life? Would you worry? Would you doubt? Would you hesitate? No, you would carry yourself with confidence, with ease, with joy. That is the state you must live in now. Because the truth is, it is guaranteed if you accept it as true. Everything is already complete, every possibility exists. You do not need to struggle, to force, or to beg the universe for what you want. You only need to align with it, to assume the state of already having, and let the world respond accordingly. When you think from the end rather than of it, you remove all barriers, you dissolve time, you step into the reality you desire and claim it as your own. And when you do, the world has no choice but to follow. The energy you radiate is the energy you attract. Every thought you hold, every belief you nurture, every emotion you dwell in is shaping your reality in this very moment. The world around you is not separate from you, it is a mirror reflecting your inner state. If you wish to attract miracles, you must first become the kind of person who expects them, who lives in the certainty that they are natural, inevitable, and always present. You do not chase miracles. You allow them by aligning yourself with the state where they are already happening. To understand this, you must recognize that you are not merely a passive observer of life. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, fate, or external conditions. You are the creative force behind everything you experience. The conditions of your life are not random. They are precise reflections of what you assume to be true. If you assume that life is full of difficulty, struggle, and disappointment, then that is exactly what you will encounter. If you assume that life is abundant, full of opportunities and blessings, then that too will be your experience. Miracles are not rare events granted to the lucky few. They are the natural consequence of a consciousness aligned with possibility, faith, and expectation. The only reason some people experience more miracles than others is that they live in a state of expectancy. They do not hope for miracles, they assume them. They move through life as though the unseen forces of the universe are always working in their favor. They do not question whether things will work out. They know they already have. Most people believe they must first see evidence before they can believe in something. They wait for proof before they allow themselves to feel confident, secure, or joyful. But this approach reverses the order of creation. It is not the outer world that shapes your beliefs. It is your beliefs that shape the outer world. What you accept as true internally must be externalized. The reason some people remain stuck in undesirable circumstances is because they continue to believe in them, reinforcing their reality over and over again. The key to attracting miracles is to shift your awareness away from what is and onto what could be. You must live as though your desires have already manifested. You must train yourself to feel the joy, gratitude, and excitement of already receiving what you seek. This is not wishful thinking or self-deception. It is the very mechanism by which reality is shaped. Your imagination is not a passive tool. It is the blueprint from which your future unfolds. When you dwell in the state of already having what you want, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match that state. Consider the power of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrational states a person can embody. When you feel grateful, you signal to the universe that you already have abundance, that you are already blessed, that you are already receiving everything you need. And because the universe mirrors your internal state, it must continue to deliver experiences that align with that frequency. This is why those who practice gratitude consistently find themselves receiving more and more to be grateful for. They are not waiting for things to change before they feel thankful. They feel thankful, and then things change. The same principle applies to faith. Faith is not about hoping that things will work out. It is about knowing they already have. It is about walking with certainty even when your physical senses seem to suggest otherwise. It is about trusting in the unseen, understanding that what you hold within will inevitably be reflected without. The moment you shift from hoping to knowing, from waiting to assuming, you step into the reality where miracles are natural and effortless. Doubt is the only thing that stands in the way of manifestation. Every time you entertain doubt, every time you question whether your desires will come to pass, you are sending out conflicting signals. You are like a gardener who plants a seed, but then keeps digging it up to check if it is growing. If you truly knew that your desires were on their way, you would not question them. You would not analyze or worry. You would simply move forward with confidence, knowing that the process is already underway. This is why persistence is crucial. Many people give up too soon, allowing their doubts and fears to overpower their inner knowing. They start with enthusiasm, but when they do not see immediate results, they revert to their old assumptions. They allow appearances to dictate their beliefs instead of allowing their beliefs to dictate appearances. But those who persist, who hold firm to their vision despite external circumstances, are the ones who witness miracles unfold before them. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. It is not an escape from reality. It is the foundation upon which reality is built. Every great invention, every breakthrough, every extraordinary event in history first existed in someone's mind before it became real. Those who understand this do not limit themselves to what their physical eyes can see. They live in the world of possibility, constantly expanding their awareness of what is achievable. When you visualize your desires, do not see them as something outside of you. Do not place them in the future, always just beyond your grasp. Instead, embody them now. Feel them as though they are already yours. See yourself already living in the reality you wish to experience. Engage all your senses. Hear the sounds, feel the textures, breathe in the air of that reality. The more real it becomes in your imagination, the sooner it will crystallize in your physical world. You do not need to struggle, fight, or force things into existence. The universe operates on a principle of effortless flow. The moment you align with the feeling of already having what you want, the process becomes smooth and natural. Resistance only arises when you try to control the how and when of manifestation. Your job is not to dictate the details. Your job is to assume the end result and trust that the universe will handle the rest. Look around at the people who seem to attract abundance effortlessly. They are not chasing, worrying, or second-guessing. They are living in a state of ease, faith, and expectation. They have trained themselves to see the world through the lens of abundance rather than lack. They do not dwell on problems, they dwell on solutions. They do not focus on obstacles, they focus on possibilities. This is why opportunities seem to flow to them, why they always seem to be in the right place at the right time. You are meant to live in this state. You were not created to struggle, to suffer, to beg for scraps of happiness. You were created to be a vessel of miracles, a conduit for the divine flow of abundance. The only thing standing in your way is the belief that you must earn it, that it is difficult, that it is only for a select few. The moment you release these false beliefs and embrace the truth that miracles are your birthright, you will begin to see them unfold in your life with ease and grace. Every thought you think, every emotion you hold, every belief you accept is shaping the energy you radiate. And the energy you radiate determines what you attract. If you want to experience more miracles, begin by assuming they are already happening. Live as though you are surrounded by blessings, as though opportunities are always flowing to you, as though everything is working out in your favor. And as you do, you will come to realize that what you once called a miracle is nothing more than the natural order of a mind aligned with truth. Your entire experience of life is governed by the state of consciousness you occupy. The world you see, the circumstances you encounter, and the events that unfold are all reflections of your dominant state of being. If you wish to attract miracles effortlessly, you must first embody the consciousness of one who already experiences them. It is never about forcing reality to change. It is about changing the way you perceive reality. The moment your internal world shifts, your external world must follow. Most people look at their environment, their bank account, their relationships, and their health, and assume that these conditions define them. They react to what they see, believe in what appears real, and allow circumstances to dictate their emotions. But this is the greatest illusion. The world is not happening to you, it is happening through you. The circumstances you encounter are simply the projections of your internal assumptions. When you truly understand this, you no longer allow the outer world to dictate your inner state. Instead, you take charge of your inner world, knowing that the outer world must adjust accordingly. This is why becoming the embodiment of miracles is the key to attracting them. You must think as if the miracle has already happened. You must feel as if you are already living in the reality you desire. You must act as if you are already the person who has received every blessing you seek. This is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about aligning your energy with the very thing you wish to experience. Imagine a person who constantly complains about lack. They speak of their struggles, dwell on their hardships, and focus on what is missing in their life. Even when they desperately wish for abundance, their dominant state remains one of lack and frustration. The energy they radiate is that of someone who does not have enough. And because their state of consciousness remains fixed in scarcity, the world continues to mirror it back to them. Opportunities evade them, resources seem scarce, and every attempt to change their situation is met with resistance. Now contrast this with someone who embodies abundance even before it physically appears in their life. They wake up each day feeling grateful for what they have. They carry themselves with confidence, knowing that everything they need is already on its way. They expect doors to open, opportunities to arise, and solutions to present themselves. Even if their current situation does not yet reflect the abundance they seek, their internal world is already aligned with it. And because they live in this state consistently, their external reality soon reshapes itself to match. Money flows to them, unexpected blessings appear, and life unfolds in their favor. The only difference between these two people is the state of consciousness they occupy. One is fixated on lack, and so they experience more of it. The other is immersed in abundance, and so abundance naturally gravitates toward them. The same principle applies to every aspect of life: health, relationships, success, and miracles. The more you embody the state of already having what you desire, the more easily it manifests in your life. But this is where most people struggle. They believe they must wait for their external conditions to change before they can feel different. They think, once I have more money, then I will feel secure. Once I find the right relationship, then I will feel loved. Once I am successful, then I will feel confident. But this is backward. The outer world does not create the inner world. The inner world creates the outer world. If you want more money, you must first feel abundant. If you want love, you must first feel deeply loved within. If you want success, you must first walk with the confidence of someone who is already successful. This requires a shift in perspective. Instead of waiting for external proof, you must become the proof. Instead of reacting to the world as it is, you must respond to the world as you wish it to be. Every action, thought, and emotion must align with the reality you seek. This is not about forcing yourself to believe something that feels untrue. It is about choosing to focus only on the state of being that serves you. One of the most powerful ways to embody the consciousness of miracles is through the practice of assumption. Assume that what you desire is already yours. Assume that every step you take is leading you closer to your ideal reality. Assume that the universe is working in your favor, orchestrating events on your behalf, and most importantly, assume that you are worthy of the miracles you seek. When you embody this level of certainty, everything shifts. You no longer question whether things will work out, you know they already have. You no longer stress over how something will happen, you trust that the details are being taken care of. You no longer entertain doubt or fear, you remain unwavering in your inner knowing. And as a result, your energy shifts, your vibration rises, and miracles become inevitable. Every great transformation begins with an internal shift. The moment you step into the version of yourself who already has what they desire, you activate the forces necessary to bring it into being. This is not mere philosophy, it is a law as precise and reliable as gravity. The world you see is simply a reflection of your dominant state of consciousness. If you do not like what you are experiencing, do not fight against the external world. Change the internal world from which it springs. You must carry yourself as if you are already the recipient of divine favor. You must move through life as though the miraculous is your natural state. Walk with confidence, speak with conviction, act with certainty. Let your words, thoughts, and emotions all affirm the reality you wish to create. The more you embody this version of yourself, the faster your world will rearrange itself to match. If you were already the person you wish to become, how would you think? How would you speak? How would you feel? What decisions would you make? What actions would you take? Begin to live from that place now. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you become the person you wish to be. Become them now and watch how reality bends to match your internal state. The power is always in your hands. You are not at the mercy of fate, luck, or external conditions. You are the master of your reality, the creator of your experience, the force that shapes your destiny. Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, every emotion you embody is molding the world around you. Miracles do not come to those who beg for them. They come to those who expect them, who assume them, who embody them in every fiber of their being. You must move as though your prayers have already been answered. You must carry yourself as though the universe has already said yes. You must live as though the impossible is already unfolding in your favor. The moment you do, you will realize that what you once called a miracle is simply the natural consequence of a consciousness aligned with its own divine power. The energy you radiate is the force that shapes your reality. Every thought you entertain, every emotion you hold, and every assumption you embody sends out a frequency that calls experiences into your life. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. The outer world is merely a reflection of the state of being you carry within. If you wish to magnetize miracles effortlessly, you must first embody the energy of one who already lives in the miraculous. This is not about wishful thinking or blind hope. It is about deliberately aligning your internal state with the reality you seek. Most people live in a reactive state. They look at their external circumstances and allow them to dictate how they feel. If they see struggle, they feel discouraged. If they experience lack, they feel unworthy. If they encounter obstacles, they feel powerless. But this way of living places them at the mercy of conditions rather than in control of them. The truth is, circumstances do not create emotions. Emotions create circumstances. Your state of being determines the events that unfold around you, not the other way around. The moment you shift your energy, the external world must respond in kind. Imagine walking into a room filled with people. Without speaking a word, you can sense the atmosphere. You feel the tension if people are anxious or the warmth if they are joyful. This is because energy is tangible and it precedes action. You do not need to announce how you feel. Your energy does it for you. Likewise, the universe responds to the frequency you emit. If your energy is filled with doubt, struggle, and resistance, you will find that life mirrors those same qualities back to you. But if your energy is infused with confidence, trust, and gratitude, you will naturally attract experiences that reflect these states. The key to magnetizing miracles is to maintain a high energetic frequency regardless of your external conditions. You must generate within yourself the emotions that match the reality you wish to experience. If you desire love, you must first cultivate deep love within yourself. If you desire abundance, you must first embody the feeling of being abundant. If you desire healing, you must first radiate the energy of wholeness. This is not about pretending or forcing an emotion. It is about consciously shifting your focus until the desired state becomes natural. Most people wait for external proof before they allow themselves to feel a certain way. They say, I'll feel confident once I succeed, or I'll feel happy once I find the right relationship, or I'll feel abundant once I have more money. But this way of thinking keeps them trapped, for they are placing their power outside of themselves. The truth is, the feeling must come first. The world does not change to make you happy. You become happy and the world changes to match. The shift must happen within before it is reflected without. Consider someone who carries themselves with absolute certainty that good things are always happening for them. They move through life with ease, trusting that the universe is working in their favor. They are not attached to how or when things will unfold because they already know that everything is aligning perfectly. Because they embody this state, they naturally attract opportunities, synchronicities, and blessings that others might dismiss as luck. But this is not luck. It is the inevitable consequence of their energetic alignment. Now consider someone who constantly doubts whether things will work out. They overanalyze, worry, and second-guess themselves. They may desperately want positive change, but their dominant energy is one of uncertainty and fear. As a result, they encounter resistance at every turn. Things seem to take longer, opportunities slip through their fingers, and life feels like a constant struggle. This is not because they are unlucky, it is because they are vibrating at a frequency that repels the very miracles they seek. The universe does not respond to words or wishes, it responds to energy. You may say that you desire a particular outcome, but if your dominant energy contradicts it, the universe will respond to what you truly feel, not what you say. This is why shifting your internal state is the most powerful thing you can do. When you radiate certainty, confidence, and gratitude, miracles are drawn to you effortlessly. One of the most effective ways to align your energy with miracles is through the practice of embodiment. Embodiment means living as though your desired reality is already true. It means carrying yourself with the energy of the person who has already received everything they desire. This is not about pretending or deceiving yourself. It is about conditioning your mind and body to exist in the state you wish to experience. If you were already living in the reality you desire, how would you feel? How would you walk? How would you speak? How would you interact with others? Begin to embody those qualities now, even before the external confirmation arrives. The more you dwell in this state, the more effortlessly it becomes your natural way of being. And once it is your dominant state, the external world has no choice but to conform. Gratitude is one of the most powerful frequencies for aligning your energy with miracles. Gratitude signals to the universe that you already have what you seek, and in doing so, it draws more of it into your experience. When you feel gratitude for something that has not yet appeared in the physical world, you are affirming your trust in its inevitability. This is a direct demonstration of faith. And faith is the substance through which all manifestations take form. When you wake up in the morning, instead of focusing on what is missing, focus on everything that is already aligning in your favor. Feel gratitude for the opportunities that are unfolding, even if you cannot yet see them. Feel gratitude for the love that is making its way into your life, even if it has not yet appeared. Feel gratitude for the abundance that is already flowing toward you, even if it has not yet fully materialized. The more you dwell in gratitude, the faster miracles will manifest. Releasing resistance is another crucial aspect of maintaining a high energetic frequency. Many people unknowingly block their blessings by clinging too tightly to a specific outcome. They demand that things unfold in a particular way, on a particular timeline, and in doing so, they create energetic resistance. True alignment comes from trust, not control. When you fully trust that everything is unfolding perfectly, you release the need to force or manipulate circumstances. You relax into the knowing that what is meant for you cannot be lost. When you maintain a state of alignment, you no longer chase after miracles. They are drawn to you. You do not need to struggle, beg, or fight to receive what is already yours. You simply become an energetic match for it, and it arrives effortlessly. This is the essence of effortless manifestation. It is not about forcing reality to change, it is about shifting your state of being so that reality naturally conforms to your inner world. Everything in existence is energy. You are energy. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are energy. The experiences that enter your life are energy. When you align your energy with the reality you seek, it must appear. This is not speculation, it is law. The only thing standing between you and the miracles you desire is your own state of consciousness. The moment you shift internally, everything around you must shift as well. So instead of looking outward for change, look inward. Instead of reacting to the world as it is, create the world as you wish it to be. Embody the energy of the life you desire and watch as reality bends to meet you. When you radiate certainty, trust, and gratitude, the miraculous becomes your natural state. You do not chase after blessings, they flow effortlessly to you. You do not beg for change. The moment you align your energy with the miraculous, miracles become inevitable. Everything in this universe exists in response to the unseen forces of belief, emotion, and energy. The moment you claim something as yours in consciousness, it begins to move toward you. But there is one essential key that unlocks the full potential of this process: unwavering faith. Faith is not just hope. Hope looks forward to something in the future, but faith knows that it already is. Faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the force that collapses time and allows miracles to unfold effortlessly. Everything begins within. The world you see, the circumstances you face, the life you live, all of it is but a reflection of what you accept as true. The moment you decide with full conviction that you are already wealthy, the world must bend to your assumption. There is no power outside of you granting wealth or withholding it. You are the one writing the script, and the stage of life will always act in accordance with your inner state. To act as if you have already won millions is not to pretend, nor is it to deceive. It is to embody the consciousness of wealth so fully that it becomes your natural state. The law is simple. You do not attract what you want, you express what you are. If you see yourself as struggling, lacking, waiting for wealth to arrive, then the world will reflect those exact conditions back to you. But the moment you shift, the moment you assume that you are already rich, everything changes. Your thoughts, your actions, your very presence in the world take on a new quality. Walk through life knowing you are already the person who has received great wealth. Not in desperation, not in longing, but in absolute certainty. When you step into a room, carry yourself as one who is financially free. When you make decisions, make them as one who has millions at their disposal. Speak, think, and feel from the state of having, not hoping. You do not chase, you do not worry. You rest in the assurance that what you seek is already yours. The mind will protest at first. It will argue that the bank account does not reflect wealth, that the bills still come, that the evidence of riches is not yet visible. But the truth is, the unseen world moves before the seen. Your only responsibility is to persist in the assumption, to live from the end, to refuse to be swayed by appearances. Do not concern yourself with how it will come. The path is not yours to dictate. Your work is to remain faithful to the state of already having, and life will take care of the details. The world will shift, opportunities will arise, and wealth will flow in ways you could not have planned. But it all begins within. See yourself as already victorious, already abundant, already holding the millions in your hands, and reality will follow. Everything you experience in life begins with the thoughts and assumptions you hold within. The world you see is not separate from you, but a mirror reflecting your inner state. If you believe yourself to be lacking, struggling, or waiting for something to change, then life must conform to those beliefs. The law is unyielding. It does not respond to wishes, but to certainty. When you shift your inner world, the outer world follows. There is no exception. Many people live under the illusion that circumstances shape their reality, that the state of their finances, relationships, or opportunities dictate how they feel. But the truth is the opposite. It is not the condition that creates the feeling, it is the feeling that creates the condition. The way you think, the way you feel, and the way you assume life to be is the invisible force shaping everything you encounter. Consider the person who constantly worries about money. They believe it is scarce, that they must work endlessly to obtain just enough, that wealth is reserved for a select few. Because they accept this as truth, their actions and decisions reflect it. They hesitate to invest in themselves. They doubt opportunities. They approach life from a place of fear. And so, life provides more of what they believe: financial struggles, obstacles, and limitations. Now, contrast this with someone who embodies the consciousness of wealth. Even if their bank account does not yet show millions, they carry themselves as though they are financially free. They assume that opportunities are abundant, that money flows to them effortlessly, that they are always supported. This assumption influences their thoughts, which in turn affect their actions. They move through the world with confidence, they make bold decisions, and they naturally attract circumstances that reflect their belief in abundance. The difference between these two individuals is not their external conditions, but their internal state. And because the external world must reflect the internal, their realities unfold accordingly. One experiences constant struggle, while the other naturally attracts wealth. The world does not determine who you are. You determine what the world must show you. To truly grasp this, you must recognize that nothing in your life is happening outside of you. Every event, every opportunity, every challenge is appearing as a result of the consciousness you are holding. If you see lack, if you feel stuck, if you experience financial hardship, it is because somewhere within you are identifying with those states. Change does not begin by fixing things on the outside. It begins by shifting the way you see yourself on the inside. If you desire wealth, you must first assume the state of being wealthy. This does not mean pretending or playing make-believe. It means genuinely adopting the mindset and feeling of already having what you seek. Feel the security, the freedom, the ease that comes with financial abundance. Let that feeling dominate your mind. Walk, talk, and think as one who has already received. This is not wishful thinking, it is the foundation of creation. The world outside of you is like a screen, and your inner world is the projector. Whatever you hold in your mind is what life must reflect back to you. If you believe wealth is distant, life will confirm that belief. If you know beyond doubt that you are already rich, the world will organize itself to prove you right. This principle applies not only to money but to every aspect of life. Love, success, happiness, all of it is determined by what you assume to be true. The mistake many people make is waiting for the outside world to change first, not realizing that the power to change lies entirely within them. They chase opportunities, they react to circumstances, they struggle to fix things externally, never understanding that the root of their experience is in their own consciousness. The moment you shift your inner state, the outer world must follow. There is no other way. You are not a victim of circumstances, you are the cause of them. The wealth you seek is already within you, waiting to be claimed. The only question is whether you will assume it as true or continue to look to the external world for validation. Do not wait for signs. Do not wait for proof. The proof comes after you believe, not before. If you desire wealth, take a moment now to feel what it would be like if you had already won millions. Not in the future, not someday, right now. Let the feeling of financial freedom wash over you. Feel the relief, the joy, the excitement. Hold on to this state as if it were your reality, because it is. Your inner world is the seed from which everything grows. What you water with your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs will eventually appear in the physical world. Nurture the consciousness of wealth, and wealth will become your experience. Hold on to the belief in lack, and lack will persist. There is no outside force choosing for you. You are the one shaping your life in every moment, whether you realize it or not. It is not enough to simply know this intellectually. It must become your way of being. Every day, remind yourself that the world is a reflection of your state. When doubt arises, return to the feeling of already having. When circumstances seem to contradict your assumption, remain faithful to the unseen reality. Persist in the knowing that you are already the person who has won millions, and life will have no choice but to reflect that back to you. The key to transforming your financial reality, or any reality, is understanding that everything begins within. Change your inner state, and the world will change to match it. This is the only law at work, and it never fails. You must persist in your assumption, no matter what your senses tell you. The world around you is nothing more than a reflection of past beliefs, past assumptions, and past states of being. What you see now is the result of who you were, not who you are becoming. If you allow your current reality to dictate your inner state, you will continue to recreate the same experiences over and over again. This is the trap in which most people live. They react to what is rather than creating what will be. But if you understand the power of persistence, if you refuse to let the outer world control your inner world, you will reshape reality itself. The key to transformation is to remain unwavering in the feeling of already having what you desire. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, moments when circumstances seem to contradict your new assumption, moments when the old reality appears more real than the new one you are creating. These moments are tests, nothing more. They are opportunities to prove to yourself and to the universe that you are committed to your new state of being. If you waver, if you allow these moments to pull you back into doubt, you reset the process. But if you persist, if you hold on to your assumption regardless of what the world appears to show you, then the world must eventually conform. Most people give up too soon. They try to assume the feeling of wealth, but when their bank account does not immediately reflect that wealth, they fall back into worry. They attempt to feel abundant, but when they encounter an unexpected bill, they panic. And in doing so, they reaffirm the very state they are trying to leave behind. They do not yet understand that reality takes time to shift, that what they are seeing now is only a reflection of their past self. If they would only persist in their new assumption, they would see the evidence of their transformation unfold before them. The world is like a mirror, but it is a delayed mirror. When you shift your state of being, the reflection does not change instantly. It takes time. Just as a seed does not become a tree overnight, your new assumption must be nurtured, protected, and believed in long enough for it to take root in reality. You cannot plant a seed and then dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You must trust that the process is working, even when you see no evidence of it. Imagine a person who has won millions. Do they doubt their wealth? Do they constantly check their bank balance to make sure the money is still there? No, they simply know. They operate from a place of certainty, not questioning whether or not they are wealthy, but moving through life with the deep confidence that they are. This is the level of persistence you must develop. You must refuse to entertain any thought, any feeling, or any action that contradicts your assumption. You must walk through life as though what you desire is already yours, without hesitation, without questioning, without seeking external validation. Many will argue that this is unrealistic, that one must be practical, that one must acknowledge the facts of their current situation. But what they do not realize is that these so-called facts are only temporary. They are not permanent. They are not immovable. They are simply the remnants of past thoughts and beliefs. If you wish to change them, you must persist in a new assumption long enough for it to override the old one. If you let go too soon, if you revert back to doubt, then you remain trapped in the cycle of your past self. Persistence is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the force that turns imagination into reality, that transforms the unseen into the seen. Without it, even the most powerful assumption is meaningless. It is not enough to briefly feel as though you have won millions. You must remain in that state until reality bends to match it. You must hold on to that feeling even when the world presents you with evidence to the contrary. This is the challenge, but it is also the path to true transformation. Consider how easily people persist in negative assumptions. If they experience a small failure, they assume they will continue to fail. If they encounter rejection, they assume they are not worthy. If they face financial struggle, they assume money will always be scarce. And because they persist in these assumptions, reality continues to reflect them. But if they would apply that same persistence to the assumption of abundance, success, and wealth, their experience would change just as surely. The principle is the same regardless of what you desire, whether it is wealth, health, love, or success. The key is to persist in the assumption that you already have it. Do not waver, do not let doubt take root. Do not allow temporary appearances to shake your belief. The world must conform to your inner state, but only if you hold that state long enough for it to take shape. When you persist in your assumption, something remarkable happens. At first, it may feel like you are pretending. It may feel as though you are lying to yourself, but as you continue, something shifts. Your mind begins to accept this new reality as truth. Your emotions align with it, your actions follow, and before you know it, the world itself begins to reflect what you have been assuming all along. This is not magic, it is the law of consciousness in action. There is no force outside of you preventing your desires from manifesting. The only obstacle is your own ability to remain steadfast in your assumption. If you can master this, if you can persist regardless of what the outer world appears to show you, then nothing will be impossible for you. Reality is malleable. It bends to the will of those who refuse to accept anything less than what they have chosen to believe. If you were already wealthy, you would not be checking your bank balance in worry. If you had already won millions, you would not be questioning whether or not money was coming to you. You would simply know. That knowing is what you must develop. And the only way to develop it is through persistence. Stay in the state of already having. Hold on to the feeling and watch as the world reshapes itself around you. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the secret to reshaping reality. The mind operates in a way that it does not distinguish between what is physically present and what is vividly imagined. When you assume the feeling of already having what you desire, you begin to shift your inner world, and soon the outer world must follow. This is not a passive process. It requires full engagement of the senses, emotions, and thoughts. It requires a deep immersion into the reality of your assumption, as if you were already living it. Most people try to manifest their desires while still feeling the absence of them. They long for more money while feeling the lack of it. They hope for love while feeling lonely. They dream of success while feeling unworthy. This contradiction keeps them trapped in their current state. You cannot wish for something and at the same time feel its absence. Your dominant state will always win. The key is to embody the state of already having, to feel the reality of your desire so deeply that it becomes natural to you. Imagine what it would feel like if you had already won millions. How would you walk? How would you breathe? How would you think? Would you still worry about bills, or would you move through life with confidence and ease? Your movements would be different, your thoughts lighter, your emotions more expansive. The excitement of financial freedom would not be a fleeting wish, but a living reality within you. This is the state you must cultivate. To feel the wish fulfilled, you must engage all of your senses. If wealth is your goal, immerse yourself in the experience of already having it. See yourself checking your bank account and seeing an abundant balance. Feel the texture of luxury items in your hands. Hear the sound of an expensive car, door closing. Smell the air in a high-end hotel. Taste the richness of a fine meal. The more real it feels to you, the faster it will materialize in your world. This is not about pretending or wishful thinking. It is about shifting your identity. You are not just someone hoping to become wealthy. You are already wealthy in your mind and feelings. You do not think of money as something far away. You think of it as something that is already yours. The same principle applies to any desire. If you wish for love, you do not wait for someone to fill the void. You feel deeply loved now. If you seek health, you do not focus on illness. You dwell in the sensation of vitality. There is great power in living from the end result. When you embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, your subconscious mind accepts it as reality. It begins to reorganize circumstances, align people, and create opportunities that match your assumption. This is why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly, while others struggle no matter how hard they try. Those who succeed are living in the state of already having, while those who struggle remain in the state of lacking. One of the most powerful exercises to lock in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is mental rehearsal. Before you sleep, close your eyes and step into your desired reality. See yourself living your dream. Hear the voices of people congratulating you. Feel the emotions of accomplishment, and rest in the certainty that it is already done. The moments before sleep are especially powerful because the mind is most impressionable, and the subconscious absorbs these imaginal acts deeply. Another way to deepen the feeling is through small, consistent actions. If you were already a millionaire, how would you treat yourself? Would you carry yourself with more confidence? Would you take better care of your body? Would you move through the world with ease rather than anxiety? Start incorporating these behaviors now. Act as if you have already arrived, and soon reality will reflect it. Resistance will arise when you begin to live in this new state. The old self will try to pull you back into familiar patterns. Doubt may creep in, and circumstances may challenge your assumption. This is where persistence is crucial. You must not waver when the outer world appears unchanged. Remember that reality is a delayed reflection, and your current experience is only the result of past beliefs. If you continue to feel the wish fulfilled, the outer world must eventually shift to match it. Many people make the mistake of letting the outside world dictate how they feel. They wait for evidence before they believe, but this is backward. The feeling comes first, the evidence follows. If you desire wealth, do not wait for money to feel abundant. Feel abundant now, and money will find its way to you. If you desire love, do not wait for someone to love you. Feel love now, and love will flow into your life. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world, and when you master your inner state, you control what manifests externally. Faith plays a critical role in sustaining the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is easy to believe when things are going well, but true mastery comes when you can hold on to your assumption despite contradictory evidence. When you can walk through life with the unshakable knowing that your desire is already yours, you have reached the level where manifestation becomes effortless. Faith is not hoping, it is knowing. It is standing firm in your assumption, regardless of what the five senses tell you. Gratitude is another powerful tool in locking in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you are grateful for something, you affirm that you already have it. Instead of longing for wealth, be grateful for financial abundance now. Instead of wishing for success, give thanks that it is already yours. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to fulfillment, reinforcing the reality of your assumption. The greatest creators in history have all understood this principle. They did not wait for proof. They lived in the feeling of their vision long before it materialized. Great artists saw their masterpieces completed before they touched a brush. Innovators saw their inventions changing the world before they existed. Leaders carried the energy of victory before a battle was won. They all embodied the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and the world had no choice but to conform to their inner reality. You are the creator of your experience. There is no force outside of you preventing your desires from manifesting. The only barrier is your ability to sustain the feeling of already having what you seek. If you can hold this feeling consistently, without allowing doubt or fear to take root, you will see your reality shift in ways that seem miraculous to others, but are simply the natural result of consciousness in action. Your state of being determines your world. If you live in lack, you will experience lack. If you live in abundance, you will experience abundance. It is not about hoping, wishing, or waiting. It is about assuming and knowing. Take control of your inner world. Assume the feeling of already having, and reality will bend to your will. The world you see before you is not fixed, solid, or independent of your perception. Reality is fluid, shaped by the assumptions you hold in your consciousness. What you consistently believe, feel, and accept as true determines the experiences that unfold in your life. If you wish to experience wealth, you must first embody the state of being wealthy. If you desire abundance, you must cultivate the consciousness of abundance before the evidence appears. The external world is merely a reflection of your inner state, responding to the dominant impressions you hold. Most people believe in a rigid cause and effect structure, thinking that they must wait for external circumstances to change before they can feel the way they desire. They assume that once they have more money, they will feel secure. Once they find love, they will feel complete. Once they achieve success, they will feel accomplished. But this perspective places power outside of them and keeps them trapped in a cycle of waiting. The truth is, the inner shift must come first. Reality is not something that happens to you. It is something that flows from you. Imagine a person who suddenly comes into great wealth, but still carries the consciousness of lack. No matter how much money enters their life, they remain fearful of losing it. They hoard, they worry, and they behave as if they are still struggling. Soon circumstances begin to reflect this inner state. They make poor financial decisions, unexpected losses occur, or opportunities slip away. Despite their external wealth, their internal world never shifted, and so their reality inevitably returns to match their inner belief. Now imagine another person who has little money but lives in the feeling of abundance. They trust in the flow of life. They expect prosperity. They give freely, and they carry themselves with confidence. They act as if their wealth is already present. Because they embody this state, their external world begins to reflect it. Opportunities arise, unexpected gifts come their way, and financial success unfolds naturally. They did not chase wealth, they became it. This is the power of assumption. You do not need to force external circumstances to change. You need only to change the state from which you operate. When you assume the feeling of already having what you desire, the world around you will bend to reflect that assumption. It is an immutable law, as certain as gravity. The challenge, however, is maintaining this state despite appearances that contradict it. Many people waver because they allow their senses to dictate their beliefs. They look at an empty bank account and feel poor. They see a lack of opportunities and feel stuck. But this is like staring at a mirror and waiting for the reflection to smile before you do. The reflection is not the cause, it is the effect. The cause is within you. If you hold firm to the assumption that you are already wealthy, no matter what your physical reality appears to be, your reflection must eventually change. This is why persistence is key. It is easy to believe when things are going well, but true mastery is holding on to your assumption in the face of adversity. If you wish to manifest wealth, you must not allow temporary setbacks to shake your inner knowing. You must remain unwavering in your belief, as if the wealth is already yours. This does not mean ignoring financial responsibilities or acting recklessly. It means maintaining an internal state of confidence, security, and ease, regardless of circumstances. Your imagination is your greatest tool in sustaining this assumption. The mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. When you immerse yourself in the experience of already having your desire, your subconscious accepts it as truth. If you were already a millionaire, what would your day feel like? How would you interact with others? What kind of thoughts would occupy your mind? Create a scene in your imagination that implies your wealth is already a reality. Live in that scene, not just as a passing daydream, but as a deeply felt experience. Your words and thoughts must also align with this assumption. Many people sabotage their manifestations by speaking of lack while trying to attract abundance. They say things like, "I can't afford that," or "I never have enough money." These statements reinforce the state of lack. Instead, speak as someone who already possesses wealth. Even if you are not yet spending millions, you can adopt the mindset of someone who is financially free. Instead of saying, "I can't afford that," say, "It's not a priority right now." Instead of saying, "Money is tight," affirm, "Money flows to me easily and effortlessly." Your actions too should reflect your assumption. This does not mean reckless spending, but it does mean carrying yourself with confidence and making decisions from a place of abundance rather than fear. When you act from lack, you hesitate, you shrink, you second-guess yourself. But when you act from abundance, you trust, you expand, you move forward with certainty. Every small action taken in alignment with your assumption strengthens its hold in your subconscious. Gratitude is another powerful way to reinforce the state of already having. When you give thanks for something, you affirm its presence in your life. Instead of focusing on what is missing, focus on what you already have. Appreciate the money you do have, no matter how small. Feel gratitude for the opportunities already present. When you shift your focus to abundance, you attract more of it. Doubt will try to creep in, especially when physical reality seems unchanged. But doubt is simply a test of your commitment to your assumption. The longer you persist in the state of already having, the more the outer world must adjust to match it. If you give up too soon, you revert to your old state, and reality reflects that instead. Stay firm, keep assuming, keep feeling as if you already have it. It is not your job to figure out how your wealth will come. That is the work of the subconscious, of the infinite intelligence that shapes reality. Your only job is to embody the state of already having, to assume the feeling of wealth so completely that it becomes second nature. The path will unfold naturally, effortlessly. Many people believe that manifestation requires struggle, effort, and hard work. But the greatest changes occur when you simply become the person who already has what they desire. Instead of striving for wealth, be wealth. Instead of chasing success, embody success. When you shift your internal state, the external world has no choice but to reflect it. Reality is fluid, shaped by consciousness. The world you see is not separate from you. It is responding to you. Your assumptions dictate your experience. Assume the feeling of already having what you seek, and watch as the world reshapes itself around you. There is no force outside of you dictating what you can or cannot have. The only limits that exist are the ones you accept as true. Everything you seek, wealth, abundance, success, already exists, not in some distant future, but in the here and now. It is not a matter of earning, struggling, or proving yourself worthy. It is a matter of aligning with the reality in which your desire is already fulfilled. Most people believe that time stands between them and their goals. They say, one day I will be rich, or someday I will have financial freedom. But time is an illusion. There is no someday. There is only now. The version of you who has already won millions exists in this present moment, waiting to be recognized, claimed, and embodied. When you truly understand this, you stop waiting, stop hoping, stop wishing. You begin to act as if it is already done. Imagine standing at the threshold of two doors. One leads to a life of struggle, where you constantly chase after money, opportunities, and success. The other leads to a life where you already have everything you desire, where wealth flows effortlessly, where success is your natural state. The door you walk through is determined not by chance, but by choice, the choice of assumption. The moment you assume the feeling of wealth, you step into that reality. Most people hesitate because they look at their current circumstances and believe that those circumstances define them. They see a bank account with little money and assume lack. They see unpaid bills and assume struggle. But these external conditions are merely the echoes of past beliefs. The present moment is not defined by what is in front of you. It is defined by what you accept as true within you. The world does not create your state of being. Your state of being creates the world. If you were to close your eyes and strip away every external marker of your identity, your job, your financial status, your possessions, what remains? The only thing that remains is your consciousness, your awareness, your state of being. That is the true source of your wealth. The external world is nothing more than a reflection of the assumptions you hold in that awareness. There is a power within you, a power that does not wait for proof, for evidence, or for the world to confirm its truth. It is the creative force of assumption, the law by which all things are made. You are not a passive observer in life. You are the operant power, the one who shapes reality by the images you hold in your mind and the feelings you allow to take root in your heart. Every great success begins in the unseen. The world around you, everything you now call real, was once invisible. Someone dared to believe it into being. Someone persisted in the assumption that it already was, despite appearances to the contrary. And just as they did, so must you. The moment you claim your success as an absolute fact, the world has no choice but to rearrange itself to reflect that claim. Do you truly believe in the power that lies within? If so, you will not look for signs. For signs follow, they do not precede. You will not wait for permission, for the only authority you need is your own conviction. Walk, speak, and think as the one who already holds the prize. Not as a performer, not as one pretending, but as one who knows. The feeling of certainty, of having arrived, must flood your being. There is nothing to force, nothing to struggle against. The mere acceptance of your success as present reality is the work. If you can see it in your mind, if you can feel the thrill of its possession, you have already secured it. The world will move, people will shift, circumstances will unfold in ways you could not have planned. But all of it begins with a simple, unwavering decision to act as if your biggest success is already here. You are the operant power, the one who gives life to all that you experience. Everything you see, touch, and call real is a reflection of your inner world, the assumptions you hold, and the beliefs you accept as true. Nothing happens to you by chance. There are no external forces dictating your fate apart from the ones you consent to within yourself. This is the great truth that few dare to embrace, yet it is the key to unlocking the life you desire. Most people live as if they are at the mercy of the world, reacting to circumstances, waiting for things to change before they allow themselves to feel successful, happy, or secure. They see their bank account and decide whether they are rich or poor. They look at their relationships and determine whether they are loved or lonely. They base their identity on what the world reflects back to them. But this is an illusion. The world is not the cause, it is the effect. The true cause lies within you, within the thoughts you persistently hold, the emotions you entertain, and the assumptions you refuse to let go of. You must come to realize that you are not merely a participant in life, you are the creator. The power that shapes your destiny is not something outside of you. It is not in luck, fate, or circumstances. It is within your own consciousness, within the assumptions you accept and persist in. The moment you understand this, you will no longer live by reaction, but by creation. You will no longer wait for signs before you believe. Instead, you will believe first, and the signs will follow. To grasp this power, you must first take full responsibility for your life. This is not about blame, but about recognition. The moment you acknowledge that your life is a mirror of your consciousness, you reclaim your ability to change it. You are no longer bound by what has been. You are free to create what will be. The only limitation is your own imagination and the assumptions you choose to entertain. Consider the way a sculptor works. He does not look at a block of marble and wait for it to reveal the finished statue to him. He sees in his mind the masterpiece that already exists within the stone, and he carves away everything that is not in alignment with that vision. In the same way, you must hold in your mind the vision of the life you desire, and you must remove every doubt, fear, and contradictory assumption that stands in its way. If you accept that you are the operant power, then you must also accept that nothing is beyond your ability to create. There are no exceptions, no circumstances too difficult, no conditions too far gone. The only thing that matters is your inner conviction. The world bends to the one who is sure of what they are. The moment you assume something to be true and persist in that assumption, reality has no choice but to conform. This is not wishful thinking, it is a law as precise and certain as gravity. Many people hear this truth and resist it. They argue that life is unpredictable, that external forces are too strong, that change is slow and difficult. But this is only true for those who believe it to be so. The one who understands their own power does not need external validation. They do not need the world to show them proof before they believe. They believe first, and the world adjusts itself accordingly. Think of any great success story, and you will see this principle in action. Every great inventor, every visionary, every leader who changed the course of history began with nothing more than an idea, a belief that something could exist even when the world told them otherwise. They did not wait for the world to agree with them. They persisted in their vision until the world had no choice but to reflect it back to them. You must do the same. Stop looking at what is and letting it dictate what will be. The circumstances you see today are only the outpicturing of your past assumptions. If you want a different future, you must assume a different reality now. Do not wait for external confirmation. Act as the one who already has what they desire. Speak as them, think as them, feel as them. And as surely as the sun rises, your world will shift to reflect your new assumption. There is no need to struggle, no need to force things to happen. Creation is not about effort, it is about assumption. The moment you accept something as true, the unseen forces of reality begin working to bring it into form. People will move, events will unfold, opportunities will appear, but all of it begins with you. Your only task is to assume and persist, to hold unwaveringly to the state of the wish fulfilled. If you look at the world and see lack, failure, or struggle, it is because you have accepted those as your reality. But the moment you choose to see abundance, success, and ease, those too must become your reality. Nothing can appear in your world unless it first exists in your consciousness. This is why you must guard your mind, train yourself to see only what you wish to experience. Doubt and fear may arise, but they have no power unless you accept them. The moment you feel doubt creeping in, remind yourself of the truth. You are the operant power. Nothing outside of you has authority over your life. The only thing that matters is what you choose to believe. The world will test you not because it is against you, but because it is a mirror. If you waver in your assumption, if you allow yourself to be swayed by appearances, the world will reflect that uncertainty back to you. But if you remain firm, if you refuse to accept anything less than what you have assumed to be true, then nothing can stop it from becoming reality. This is not about pretending or playing a role. It is about knowing. When you assume something is true, you do not act as if it simply becomes who you are. The person who believes they are successful does not need to prove it to anyone. They walk with the quiet confidence of someone who knows. They do not seek validation, for they already possess the inner conviction that what they desire is theirs. Your success, your happiness, your fulfillment, they are all within you now. They are waiting for you to claim them, to assume them as true, and live from that assumption. The world cannot withhold anything from the one who knows their power. When you stand firm in the belief that your desire is already yours, the universe moves to make it so. The only question is, will you claim it? Do not wait for evidence before you believe. Do not wait for the world to confirm what you desire. The key to manifesting success is to assume it is already yours and to live from that state of mind. You must no longer approach life as if you are striving towards something in the distance. You must embody the reality that what you seek is already accomplished, that it is already unfolding, that you are already the person who has it. Most people live their lives in a constant state of waiting. They wait for their circumstances to improve, for their dreams to become possible, for opportunities to arrive. They believe that once they see the changes they desire, then they will believe in them. But the truth is, the external world is only a reflection of the inner world. The results you seek will never appear until you first claim them within yourself. To live from the end means to step into the feeling of already having what you desire. It is not about pretending or faking it. It is about knowing that it is done. When you decide that something is already yours, your mind, body, and actions align with that assumption. You carry yourself differently. You think differently. You speak with certainty, and your energy shifts. Think of a person who has already achieved great success. They do not wake up wondering if they are successful, hoping that the world will reassure them. They know who they are. They move through life with confidence, certainty, and purpose. They do not question whether success belongs to them. They operate from the conviction that it does. And because they think and act in alignment with that belief, their world continues to reflect their inner certainty. You must do the same. If you desire financial prosperity, you must no longer think like someone struggling with money. You must stop identifying with lack, with worry, with the idea that money is difficult to obtain. Instead, you assume the state of wealth. You think, feel, and act as someone who already possesses abundance. You move through life with a quiet assurance that money flows to you easily, that you are always provided for, that wealth is a natural part of your existence. If you desire love, you must no longer see yourself as someone searching for it. You do not wonder if you are worthy, if love will come, if you are good enough. You assume that love is already present in your life. You feel cherished, adored, deeply connected to the partner you desire. You speak and act from a place of fulfillment, not need. And as you live in that state, love appears in your world in ways you could never have planned. Your assumptions dictate your reality. The moment you accept something as true and live from that truth, the world adjusts itself to match your conviction. It may seem impossible, but it is no different from the way a seed grows into a tree. You do not force the process. You do not question whether the seed will become what it is meant to be. You trust that the moment the seed is planted, nature takes care of the rest. Imagine a person who has been struggling with their career. They have tried everything, worked hard, faced countless rejections, and yet success still seems out of reach. If they continue to identify as someone who struggles, if they keep believing that success is difficult, then that is exactly what they will continue to experience. But the moment they shift their perspective, the moment they assume the identity of someone who is already successful, everything changes. They no longer speak of struggle, they speak of certainty. They no longer focus on obstacles, they focus on possibilities. Their actions align with their new assumption, and soon the world must reflect that change. This is not wishful thinking, it is a fundamental law. The external world is always a mirror of the internal state. When you shift your assumption, when you embody the reality of your success, the world has no choice but to conform. If you want to experience abundance, you must think from abundance. If you want to experience joy, you must think from joy. If you want to experience love, you must think from love. Every great transformation begins within. It is easy to fall into doubt, to look at your current reality and feel as though nothing is changing. But that is the greatest illusion. The moment you decide to live from the end, the process has already begun. Just as a tree takes time to grow, just as a river takes time to carve its path, the changes you seek are unfolding beneath the surface. Your only task is to remain faithful to your assumption, to refuse to waver, to hold firm to the reality you have claimed as yours. Think of the person who has already achieved what you desire. How do they think? How do they feel? How do they carry themselves? Begin to embody that state now. Do not wait for circumstances to change. Become the change. Speak with the authority of someone who knows their success is inevitable. Walk with the confidence of someone who is already living their dream. Many people hear this truth and resist it. They argue that they cannot act as if they are wealthy when their bank account says otherwise. They believe they cannot feel loved when they are alone. They think they cannot experience success until they have proof. But this is the very mindset that keeps them stuck. The person who waits for proof will always be waiting. The person who believes first will always receive. Living from the end is not about ignoring reality. It is about choosing which reality to accept. You can accept the one that reflects lack and limitation, or you can accept the one that reflects fulfillment and abundance. The choice is always yours. There is no force outside of you that determines your success, no external power that grants or denies your desires. The only thing that shapes your life is your own state of consciousness. What you assume to be true will become true. What you persist in feeling will solidify into your world. Nothing is stopping you except the belief that you must wait, but there is nothing to wait for. The success you seek is already yours the moment you claim it. Live from that truth and watch as your world reshapes itself around you. Your imagination is the most powerful tool you possess. It is not a place of idle fantasy, but the creative force that shapes your reality. Every great achievement, every invention, every breakthrough in history first existed in the imagination of someone who dared to see beyond what was visible. When you harness the power of imagination and align it with the conviction that your desire is already fulfilled, you set into motion an unseen process that brings your vision to life. Most people underestimate the power of their imagination. They believe it is separate from reality, that it is merely a place of dreams that have no real effect on the world. But the truth is, imagination is the blueprint from which reality is constructed. The life you live today is a direct reflection of the thoughts and images you have consistently held in your mind. The home you live in, the work you do, the relationships you experience, each of these began as an idea before it took form. Nothing can exist in your world unless it first exists in your imagination. To create success, you must first see yourself as successful. You must not only think about success as a distant goal, but feel it as a present reality. When you close your eyes and imagine yourself already living the life you desire, you are aligning yourself with that experience. You are training your mind and body to accept it as truth. The more vivid and real your imagination becomes, the more natural it feels, and the more quickly it manifests in your physical world. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It accepts whatever you persistently impress upon it. If you continuously imagine yourself struggling, failing, or being unworthy of success, your subconscious will shape your world to match those assumptions. But if you deliberately fill your mind with images of triumph, abundance, and fulfillment, your subconscious will bring those experiences into your life. The greatest mistake people make is using their imagination to reinforce their limitations instead of their potential. They replay past failures, dwell on fears, and envision worst-case scenarios, not realizing that by doing so, they are unconsciously creating more of the same. Every time you allow yourself to indulge in thoughts of doubt or defeat, you are strengthening those conditions in your life. But the moment you take control of your imagination and use it to picture only what you desire, you begin to reshape your world. If you desire financial success, begin to see yourself as already wealthy. Picture yourself living in the home you want, experiencing the freedom and security that come with abundance. Feel the ease of knowing that money flows to you effortlessly, that you are always provided for. Walk through life with the inner confidence of someone who has already achieved financial prosperity. Let that feeling become so real within you that it no longer feels like a dream, but a certainty. If you seek love, do not dwell on loneliness or the absence of connection. Instead, imagine yourself in a relationship filled with deep love and understanding. See yourself being cherished, valued, and adored. Feel the presence of your ideal partner, even if they have not yet appeared in your physical world. The moment you embody the feeling of already having love, you become a magnet for it. The right people, the right circumstances, and the right experiences will naturally gravitate toward you. One of the most powerful ways to impress your imagination upon your subconscious is through the technique of mental rehearsal. This is the practice of repeatedly visualizing your desired outcome with full sensory detail. Athletes, performers, and successful individuals across all fields use this technique to achieve extraordinary results. They see themselves succeeding before it happens. They feel the emotions, hear the sounds, and engage all their senses in the experience. And because their subconscious mind accepts these imagined events as real, their bodies and actions naturally align to make them a reality. Your success is no different. If you want to experience a major breakthrough in your life, begin by rehearsing it in your mind. Picture yourself standing in the moment of triumph. If your goal is to receive an award, imagine yourself walking onto the stage, hearing the applause, feeling the weight of the trophy in your hands. If you desire business success, see yourself closing major deals, expanding your influence, and celebrating your achievements. If you dream of traveling the world, envision yourself stepping onto a plane, feeling the excitement of new destinations, and experiencing the beauty of different cultures. What you repeatedly focus on in your imagination becomes your reality. Every great innovator, artist, and leader has understood this principle. They did not wait for the world to show them proof. They created the proof within their minds first. They believed in their vision before anyone else could see it. And because they held on to that belief with unwavering conviction, the world had no choice but to conform. Your mind is your most powerful tool. It is the birthplace of every possibility, the origin of every success, the foundation of everything you will ever experience. If you can master the art of controlled imagination, there is nothing you cannot achieve. Doubt will try to creep in. The logical mind will attempt to dismiss your vision as unrealistic. The world may not yet reflect your desires, but none of that matters. What matters is what you choose to accept as true. If you persist in imagining the reality you desire, it will become inevitable. The time to use your imagination is now. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you believe in your success. Do not allow temporary appearances to dictate your inner world. Take control of your imagination and fill it only with thoughts of what you desire. See yourself as the person you wish to be. Live in the certainty that your greatest success is already unfolding. The moment you fully commit to this practice, your world will begin to transform. Doors will open where there were none before. Opportunities will arise in ways you never expected. The invisible forces of the universe will move in perfect harmony to bring your vision to life. But it all begins with you, your imagination, your belief, your willingness to live in the end before it has arrived. Let your imagination be your guide. Dare to see beyond what is visible. Persist in your vision with absolute certainty and watch as the world bends to reflect the reality you have chosen. There is an unseen force that governs all things, a divine intelligence that moves in perfect harmony with your beliefs. When you understand this, you will realize that success is not something you must chase, but something you align with. Every experience, every opportunity, every result in your life is a direct reflection of what you accept as true within yourself. The world outside you is not separate from you. It is an expression of your inner state. Change what you believe to be true about yourself, and your reality will conform. Most people believe they must work harder, struggle more, and fight against resistance to achieve their desires. They see success as something outside themselves, something they must reach for. But this belief only creates more struggle because it is rooted in the assumption that what they desire is absent, and as long as they continue to assume its absence, they reinforce its distance from them. The key to true success is not in effort alone, but in alignment. You do not need to force success into your life. You need to become the version of yourself that naturally attracts it. The version of you that has already achieved success exists right now. In the infinite possibilities of creation, that reality is already complete. The only reason you do not yet experience it is that you are still identifying with a version of yourself that has not yet received it. The moment you shift your identity, the moment you see yourself as the person who already has what you desire, the world will rearrange itself to match that assumption. To live in alignment with success, you must first become it in your mind. You must feel the way you would feel if everything you desired had already been accomplished. Walk through life carrying the inner knowing that success is inevitable, that it has already been done, and that all you are doing now is stepping into its fulfillment. When you adopt this state of mind, you no longer act from a place of lack or desperation. You act with confidence, clarity, and purpose, because you are no longer seeking success, you are embodying it. Your energy changes when you live in this state. The way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you make decisions, all of it shifts. People notice. Opportunities present themselves. The world reflects back to you the certainty you hold within. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to attract success effortlessly? It is not because they are lucky or more capable. It is because they have aligned their inner state with the reality of success. They do not question whether they will succeed. They move as though it is already done. If you want to experience this transformation in your own life, you must begin to see yourself differently. Right now, you may hold beliefs that limit you, beliefs that tell you success is hard, that you are not ready, that others have more advantages. But these are just assumptions you have accepted over time, and they are only true for as long as you believe them. The moment you decide to believe something new, your world will change to reflect it. Success is not something that happens to you, it is something that flows through you. When you are in alignment, you do not have to force things to happen. You become a magnet for the right people, the right circumstances, and the right ideas. Have you ever had a moment where everything seemed to unfold perfectly, as if guided by an unseen hand? That is the power of alignment. When you no longer resist, when you no longer doubt, when you step fully into the assumption of success, life begins to work in your favor. Doubt is the only thing that delays what is already yours. The moment you start questioning if success will come, you step out of alignment with it. The moment you worry about how things will happen, you introduce resistance. But when you trust, when you hold firm in your inner knowing, there is no longer anything blocking the flow of success into your life. This is why belief is more powerful than effort alone. You can take all the action in the world, but if deep down you still see yourself as someone who struggles, your actions will lead you back to struggle. But if you shift your belief, if you truly see yourself as someone who is already successful, then even the smallest action will lead to extraordinary results. Success is not about waiting for the right conditions. It is about embodying the right mindset now. Do not look at your current reality to determine what is possible. Your external world is only a reflection of past assumptions. If you want to see something different, you must first assume something different. If you want to live in wealth, assume wealth. If you want to experience love, assume love. If you want to be successful, assume success. The moment you make this shift, you will notice the world respond. You will meet people who can help you. You will have ideas that lead to breakthroughs. You will find yourself in situations that open new doors. It will seem like coincidence, but it is not. It is simply the natural unfolding of your new state of being. There is no force outside of you withholding success. The only thing that has ever held it back is your own belief that it is not yet yours. The moment you let go of that belief, the moment you truly accept that you are already the person who has achieved everything you desire, your life will transform. You must act as if your biggest success is already here, not because you are pretending, but because in a higher reality it is already done. You are simply catching up to it. When you carry yourself in this way, you send a clear message to the universe. I am ready. And when you are ready, all things move to meet you. Every moment you are shaping your reality through the assumptions you hold. Whether you are aware of it or not, your life is an exact reflection of the beliefs you carry deep within. The success you desire is not something waiting for you in the distant future. It already exists in the realm of imagination. The only thing separating you from experiencing it is your own acceptance of it as real. When you assume the feeling of already having what you desire, the world around you begins to shift in response. You no longer act as someone striving for success, but as someone who already possesses it. Your inner conversations are the blueprint of your external reality. What you repeatedly tell yourself, the dialogues that run through your mind day after day, determine the course of your life. If you are constantly affirming to yourself that success is hard to achieve, that opportunities are scarce, or that you are not yet ready, then you are reinforcing that reality. But when you take control of these inner conversations and deliberately align them with the reality you want to experience, everything begins to change. Imagine yourself as already successful. How do you think? What do you tell yourself? Do you dwell on doubt or do you move with certainty? Do you complain about obstacles or do you see them as stepping stones? The successful version of you already knows the answers. That version of you does not worry about whether things will work out because the assumption of success is already embedded within. You must adopt this mindset now. You must speak to yourself as though you have already arrived. Your inner world and your outer world are not separate, they are one and the same. What you assume internally will inevitably be expressed externally. This is why people who believe they are lucky always seem to experience good fortune, while those who expect failure continue to find evidence of it. It is not luck, it is the power of assumption. The world merely reflects back to you the reality you accept as true. If you want to live a life of success, your mind must become a place where success is natural. You cannot afford to entertain thoughts of lack, doubt, or fear. The moment you catch yourself thinking in ways that contradict your desired reality, you must redirect your thoughts. Not with force, but with gentle awareness. When you notice a thought that does not serve you, replace it with one that does. If you catch yourself thinking, "This is too difficult," Shift it to, I always find a way. If you hear yourself say, I don't know if I can do this, replace it with, success is already mine. You do not need to force external circumstances to change first. That is an illusion. The change must begin within, and then the outer world will adjust accordingly. People often make the mistake of thinking that once they achieve a certain level of success, they will feel confident. But in truth, the confidence must come first. Once you assume the identity of someone who is already successful, your actions, decisions, and energy begin to align with that reality. The world will reflect this new assumption back to you. Think of the people you admire, those who have achieved great things. Do they hesitate in their belief in themselves? Or do they move through life with the certainty that their success is inevitable? That level of certainty is not something they acquired after success. It is what led to their success. They assumed it before they had any external proof, and that assumption became their reality.